Tasya karmani udrani parijitani sudipri yohina sadatanan yaya dadata kala.
Mataji.
Tasya karmani udrani
Parijitani sudipri Buhina Shadadanam Nilaya Tatakalam Tasyam is Karmani transcendental acts Udarani magnanimous Parijitani broadcast Suribihi by the great souls Bruhi please speak Naha unto us Shadadananam ready to receive with respect Lilaya pastimes Dadata advent Kalaha incarnations. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Ase Bhaktivedanta Swami Shukra. His transcendental acts. So the context is that we are at a big, huge meeting of sages who are assembled in Naimisharanya, led by Shukadev Goswami, who asked to Suta Goswami what he heard of this great discussion between King Parikshit, who was to be killed some 7 days afterwards on the side of the Ganges. So it's a conversation in between another conversation, like Russian puppets. So here Shukadev Goswami is speaking of Lord Krishna. His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narada sing of them. Please, therefore, speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventure he performs in his various incarnations. Shraddha Govinda Madhava ki, Krishna Balaram ki, Ronitai ki. Purport. The personality of God that is never inactive, as some less intelligent person suggests. His works are magnificent and magnanimous. His creation, both material and spiritual, are all wonderful and contain all variegatedness. They are described nicely by such liberated souls as Srila Narada, Vyas, Valmiki, Devana, Asita, Madhva, Shri Chaitanya, Ramanuja, Vishnu Swami, Nimbarka, Sridhar, Vishwanath, Baladev, Bhaktivinod, Siddhanta Sarasvati, and many other learned and self-realized souls. These creations, both material and spiritual, are full of opulence, beauty, and knowledge. But the spiritual realm is more magnificent due to its being full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. Material creations are manifested for some time as perfected shadows of the spiritual kingdom and can be likened to cinemas. They attract people of less intelligent caliber who are attracted by false things. Such foolish men have no information of the reality, and they take it for granted that the false material manifestation is the all in all. But more intelligent men, guided by sages like Vyas and Narada, know that the eternal kingdom of God is more delightful, larger, and eternally full of bliss and knowledge. Those who are not conversant with the activities of the Lord and His transcendental realm are sometimes favored by the Lord in His adventure as incarnation, wherein He displays the eternal bliss of His association in the transcendental realm. By such activities, He attracts the conditioned soul of the material world. Some of these conditioned souls are engaged in the false enjoyment of material senses and others, in simply negating their real life in the spiritual world. These less intelligent persons are known as karmis, or fruitive workers, and jnanis, or dry mental speculators. But above these two classes of men is a transcendentalist known as sattvata, or the devotee, who is busy neither with rampant material activity nor with material speculation. He is engaged in the positive service of the Lord, and thereby he derives a higher spiritual benefit unknown to the karmis and jnanis. As the supreme controller of both the material and spiritual worlds, the Lord has different incarnations or unlimited categories. Incarnation like Brahma, Rudra, Manu, Partu, Prithu, and Vyas are his material qualitative incarnation, but his incarnations like Ram, Narsinga, Varaha, and Vamana are his transcendental incarnation. Lord Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnation, and he is therefore the cause of all causes. Translation again. His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narada think of them. Please, therefore, speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performs in his various incarnations. Om Ganati Vinandasya Gananjala Sharakarai Shachuruminitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Madhav Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Soya Rupa Karamadhyam Narati Swaparantikam He Krishna Karena Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Haripriye Mancha Kalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yaiva Chapatitaram Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaham Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Saraswati Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Brahma says also, Rama Dimurti Shukala Niyaminatishtan Nanavataram Akarubhuvane Shakintu Krishna Swayam Samabhavam Paramam Pumamyo Govindamadhi Purusham Tam Bhajami. So this prayer of Lord Brahma, who is the creator, the engineer of this material manifestation with all these planets, bodies, every kind of ingredient to put the living entity in their respective cages, bodies. So Brahma, he composed a nice prayer in which he says in a nutshell that is you worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who is the fountainhead of all incarnation. Swayam Krishna, Krishna by himself, the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna. And he is also named as Avatari, or the source of all other avatars. So Brahma confirms, like in so many other places in the Vedic scripture, of course in Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, I am the source of everything, Krishna says himself. But from his devotee also we hear that Sri Krishna is the fountainhead of all other kind of incarnation. So here the sages who were sitting in Naimisharanya, which is a town who is staying at the bottom of the Himalayan mountains. This place was the place of meeting of so many hundreds and thousands of sages. And they were very eager that this Laulia, this anxiety to learn more about the activities and pastime of Lord Krishna. Because at this time where Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken, it was shortly after the disappearance of Lord Sri Krishna. So all the sages were eager to partake more and more pastimes and have it in a more refined way from the people who were close to Krishna or close to the family of Krishna. Because Maharaj Parikshit was the son of Subhadra, Abhimanyu. And Abhimanyu married Subhadra, who was the cousin of Lord Shri Krishna. So Maharaj Parikshit was very intimate with the family of Lord Krishna, but he appeared long time after, not long time, but some time after the disappearance of Lord Krishna, and the Pandava and the Yadava, the family of Lord Krishna, more intimate. So Maharaj Parikshit was very anxious to know about Lord Krishna. And he inquired from Shukadev Goswami, who was a self-realized soul. Then Sutta Goswami asked about Shukadev Goswami, what happened exactly in this reunion? What was the topic? What was spoken? Say to us. Because they were advanced, they knew that such liberated souls, like Narada, Vyasadeva, Valmiki, Devara, Asita, all these very advanced souls, and even Vyasadeva is also counted one of the Vishnu Tattva, avatar of Lord Krishna, put in charge for compiling all the Vedic scripture and making it available to the people of the Kali age. So this was not a simple task to make a compilation, because you have to know what is the most important, what is less important, and also you have to understand what will be the mentality of the people of Kali Yuga, what will be their memory, their ability, the mental ability. And it's the fact that the people in Kali Yuga are like dwarfs, small, very small copies of what the human beings were in at the end of the Dwapara Yuga, where memory was flamboyant and people could hear once and they could repeat without alteration. We are not able to do that, most of us. Not all. Some people are very expert in controlling their memory, but mostly we are not. So that's why we need compilation and support. So they were the books were invented. Not exactly books like nowadays, but piece of wood in which it was engraved. And they were maintained, all these verses, with 2 holes and a piece of string that were maintaining all them. Like long time before, we had cards for the computer, and you will type the instruction, and they will make some holes, and you will pile them up, and you will go to the computer. You will read all this information like that. It was like that in the past, long time ago, 50 years ago. So the support at this time was some little tablets, wooden tablets, and it was given in a short way what was the most important. So here we are starting with the Srimad Bhagavatam with the most excellent compilation of the entire text of the Vedic scriptures. That was spoken by Shukadeva Goswami, and then Sutta Goswami here, and then he's starting to repeat it. So Srila Prabhupada explained the role of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in the purport. He does this many times, different ways. He explained how the acts of Lord Sri Krishna are transcendental, and to some extent they look like they are human-like. It means they are available for the human form of life. And sometimes they look like human pastimes. But for someone who is expert, some transcendental hints are there. And the activities of Lord Krishna are different because they are eternally full of eternity, bliss and knowledge. Whilst our activities are trying to be with some bliss, but the bliss we derive is from the senses, which are easily saturated and very limited. We try to get some knowledge, but the transcendental knowledge is twisted, and we get some material knowledge after so many things. Technology, psychology, politics, are always flickering, coming and going, disappearing. Because that's the matter. It's material. It's not absolute, eternal, and full of eternity, eternal. So everybody is convinced he will stay eternally in his world, whilst all around him people are dying, becoming diseased, old, hospital. It's like you see the cars, they are all nice in Europe, and when you go to the scrapyard, you see the reality. Or they are crushed, accident, old, worn out, rusted. That's where you see, like here, for the human beings, hospital. That's the reality. So we foolishly think we are eternal, and we do plans in such a way that we will stay eternally in this world. And unfortunately, everyone has to die. It is 100% sure. Everyone has to leave the body, relinquish riches, family, all kinds of assets. The only asset you can leave with you is your love for Krishna. How much you advance in your understanding of Krishna's law, how this material works, and how you ultimately should develop love of Godhead for Krishna. This is the ultimate goal. But not so many people are aware of that. So, Srila Prabhupada explained how material creation can be likened to a cinema. So in the past, when they invented the cinema, high-class people will reject it. Oh, it's for low class. So they will do cinemas, at the very beginning, not so many pictures, before all that, So low-class people, they will go to the cinema. And afterward, it became more refined. And now everybody is going to cinema or Netflix or something like that. But the image that is given by Srila Prabhupada is that cinema is a reflection of what the reality is. It's always pale, and you lose some information, and you lose some taste in it. It's a virtual picture. It is something, but it is not the real thing. We call it a virtual image. So I give often this comparison. When you want to fly, you want to learn to fly a plane, you get some books, some knowledge. After you go to a college, you graduate in your studies. After, they will invite you in a kind of cabin where you have all kind of screen and command like in a real plane. And you will start to learn how to land off and land on in this airport, Heathrow Airport, Singapore Airport. There are all the programs here, and they are different, and you manage to run your jumbo jet artificially, like in a game. After, when you are expert in that, you go to a real plane as a co-pilot, and you learn from the chief pilot, or to adjust your knowledge that was virtual in a way on the reality. So similarly, this human form of life, this human body, is a virtual image of what it could be in the spiritual world. So it enables you to practice devotional service already here in the material world, like the pilot, the apprentice pilot in his cabin. You are running and learning how to deal with Krishna and the other devotees through this false image that is the material world. Ultimately, the material world is meant for that. We think it is meant for enjoying, because people have this mentality of enjoyer. But the people who are spiritualists, they are expert in making a little twist, but fundamental twist, or to adjust this illusory material world to make it useful in learning how to love Krishna in some spiritual activity and developing a spiritual relationship with it. Because you see, in a DVD game, you have people who have some heroes, some super player, and they become the so-called God because they are expert in this. They are like their spiritual master. They did this target, this, so many things. So, in the spiritual realm, also, we have to know that we can have some expertise by ourselves, but we need to be trained by someone. And this training is of utmost importance to go deep in the details and know how to really be expert in a game, or for a devotee with a spiritual master to be expert in his spiritual life. So in the company of the spiritual master and other practitioner, you become expert in spiritual life. Like a player, we have some guru, like that, or a few gurus, and he is in the company of other players, be them in Russia or China or whatever, and they have some Zoom conversation. And they become expert how to trick the game or find some bonus or whatever stuff like that, So they work on an artificial or virtual image that was created by some developer, very expert, with thousands of other developers. And they make it a whole business of it, and it takes a great part of the emotion and exchange of the player or the artificial gamer, But still you can have an idea what it is in the reality. If you play war games, you have an idea how it is in war. But once you are in war, it's a quite different reality. So similarly, the pilot, he learns so many things, but it's another step when he is in a plane and moving a big machine with 300 people. It would depend completely on you. It's a big responsibility. So similarly, the spiritual master have a big responsibility in training and explaining to his disciples the tenets and the details of spiritual life. His business is not only to give rules and regulations, but also to introduce the devotees, his disciples, to refine details of spiritual life, or to develop some spiritual emotions. But because spiritual emotions, that's what will cement your relationship with Krishna. The same way that in material world, everyone aspires after some relationship with someone. But because it's the body made of material elements, it has a beginning and an end, and it's ultimately frustrating. Because what you create, society, friendship, an object or some idea, after some time it crumbles and it decomposes. Ultimately you are left with your own decaying body, and you just have Krishna if you develop some relationship with Krishna. And when you are alone to fly your plane, you have to know how to control your mind. Ultimately, when you be on your deathbed, and sometimes you are so sick that you think you will die, you can just rely to your mind. You chant in your mind. You chant Hare Krishna in your mind. You have to train like that. Before sleeping, I do that. Try to chant in my mind. I know I've been so sick sometime in India. Just the mind is there. You cannot even utter or something. You are choked. You are so weak. You just can't breathe a little, but your mind is still active. So, like that, Smaran becomes important the more we advance in spiritual life. Shravanam Kirtana is always there, but Smaranam becomes more important and more prevalent, and it helps you generate also some feeling towards the Lord, some sentiments, and these are, you can think it is your imagination, but you deal with Krishna, you deal with his pastimes, you remember his pastimes, you remember his words. It may look like imagination, but it's backed up by the scriptures and by thousands of sages, thousands of temples. People sometimes in Sankirtan say, wow, you're a sect, you're Sasi. So you deny the history of millions of people who went to worship Krishna, the deity form of Lord Krishna, who worship Bhagavad Gita till today. And you with your just new brainwashed magazine or newspaper. You take for granted from what one guy speaks and you repeat like a parrot everything. This is not very sound intelligence. Here with Bhagavatam we represent a long tradition. These books were written by millions, and trillions of people before it reached your door. For 5,000 years. Find a book other than the Vedic scripture who had last 5,000 years. You cannot take it cheaply or sect. Well. There's a long tradition behind these books, not only on spiritual life, but subproduct of spiritual life. Veda speaks also about Dhanu Ved, weaponry, about agriculture, about economy, about health, about so many things, all to do nice clothes, or to carve. So much handicraft is there in India. You will see in the whole world, India is most expert in refined works, handicraft. That's the only country that makes a nice temple with ornate carvation, silk saris with 2 colors. Have you find this in other countries? No, there's knowledge here. But this knowledge is some product of the supreme knowledge, which is the knowledge of the soul and his relationship with Krishna, which is the ultimate knowledge that Krishna made arrangement so that it would reappear in the Kali Yuga, because it almost disappeared due to thanks to the invaders that invaded India in the past and who tried to cremate a lot of books, libraries, destroy a lot of temples, deny the history, doesn't exist, tales, all stuff, forget it. It's a fake idea, this religion. In English, people, that's what they did. They tried to deny the reality and the supremacy of Vedic civilization. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, everything is contained in its shlokas, and they need some explanation of some extension to be really understood, because it is really concentrated. It is really nectar concentrate. So here Srila Prabhupada explain how people are so foolish, especially in Kali Yuga, they take things so cheaply. So they see just prayer, the tip of the nose, the advantage they can get, the money they can get, the position they can get, the woman they can get, the car they can purchase. All these things are flickering and just exciting the mind for a while, and then it dwindles and we run after another one, object of the senses, and the life is going on this way. And people don't forget that they become old, they get sick, and all these things they don't realize. Death is approaching. It's like a tiger hidden in the high grass, ready to jump at any time. People are not aware of that. So they take for granted that prayer, short time enjoyment is the aim of life. So those who are especially intelligent, like Srila Prabhupada, expect that a less intelligent person are those who want a quick benefit, quick income, quick something. More intelligent people, they look for Shreya, ultimate goal of life. Not only future life, but definitely no life after. Because future life means also birth, death. From the small planets down under the Earth up to Angel planet and Brahma and all these planets, they are the same problem. They are driven by attraction to the opposite sex, and there is envy, and there is krodha, anger, and there is so many defects. Ultimately, it results death, old age, disease also. Maybe some death and old age, disease and old age are minimized or absent. But they have to die and they have to retake birth. So what is the benefit of getting a promotion to a planetary system? And once your CV is exhausted, you have to get down here. Same rate, rat race, chewing the shoe. Chewing gum have been exhausted of his taste, but still, again. So those who are a little tired of this vicious circle, they are more intelligent because they can understand there is another reality. So that's why to have at least a little knowledge is important for most people, that there is another reality that exists, and they should be motivated to discover what is this upper reality. So that's the beginning of spiritual life. So here, Srila Prabhupada speaks of fruitive worker and jnanis, dry mental speculators. So jnani is a quite more advanced people than workers. Karmi, who wants just the benefit quickly. Jnanis are a little more intelligent in the sense that they are more in the goodness stage, and they sense there is a quality of life which is superior, but that requires other tools, other way of learning and doing things. So these are dry mental speculators. They study books, they take advantage of some spiritual master in some way or another, and they become expert in surfing in between the lower guna, passion and ignorance, and they stay in goodness. Sometimes they have access to pure goodness by the mercy of some devotees or some activities that are purely spiritual, and then they will escape little by little. It will take time. This is a way also to qualify ourselves to receive the mercy of Lord Krishna. Even when you are engaged in so many pious activities, but it gives you promotion for spiritual activity. Like we have this story of Nriga. Nriga was a big king who was very pious and giving cows in charities and also riches. And it happened that one cow crisscrossed some border and went to another herd of that was given to another Brahmana. And then a fight erupted in between this Brahmana, and they came to the king. You gave a cow 2 times. So he tried to arrange, but it didn't work. So the Brahmin, they went in their way, and they were frustrated, and they cursed the king. So the king was an emperor of the war, so he was cursed to become, he became a lizard in his next life. He chose to get the good result, the bad result of his activities in front of the god of death, and he chose first enjoy the bad result. So he was cast in a well as a lizard, nice lizard, big lizard. But this lizard had a special fate because he was discovered by Krishna's friend. This well happened to be in Dwarka. It still exists. If you go to Dwarka, you can see this well, the real well, still existing. And it appeared that Krishna made some arrangements so that his family, his boys, little boys, family, retinue, they went across this well. It was Krishna arrangements. He could go so many other wells. There's plenty of wells in India. And they saw this lizard, they tried to lift him up, and they could not. So because the lizard was nice, they reported to Krishna. And then it was an arrangement for Krishna to himself come to the well and recuperate this lizard. And the lizard showed up his real form as an imperator. And he explained his story to Krishna, who knows everything anyway, but to the retinue that were here, and it was recorded, and then it was put in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This event was put in the Srimad Bhagavatam because it's important and it shows how pious activities they have some defect that will you have to pay for those defects as well. But also you attract the attention of Lord Krishna. So on the wall it was not a bad deal, like Nalakuvera and Manugriva, who get cursed by the sages to be imprisoned in a couple of trees for 36,000 euros. Big
Chastised?
Big chastisement. But the result is that at the end, Krishna himself showed up and destroyed the trees and reactivate their devotion. Of course, they could have stayed around Krishna, but they chose to go to the heavenly planets. And happy end will be that they will go back to Godhead one day. So on the wall, if you get in touch with the sages who incarnate the Srimad Bhagavatam in a way or another, you get some benefits that will fructify later on. But fructify in a way that is not karmic. Fructify in a way that will give you more than liberation, more than moksha. In the company of devotee, ultimately you will get love of Godhead in a way or another, one day or another. This is how transcendental it is to be in contact with Srimad Bhagavatam, the devotee who incarnate the Srimad Bhagavatam, the deities, the prasadam, the holy names, the kirtan, etc. It is all connected because it is like the DVD of a game, it is all the same developer behind, same engineer behind, chief engineer behind. So this way you can escape from this prison house which is the material world. simply by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Following the devotee, then following a particular devotee who would be the spiritual master, and then this knowledge is like a rocket. It drives you out of the attraction of this planetary system. Some question or commentary?
Just some comments on intelligence. We talked about quite a bit on intelligence. As we see through Kali Yuga, intelligence is going to become less and less. And now we see that more and more people are using artificial intelligence. So they're not even thinking, oh, I need to do this, I'll do some research and then start writing or whatever. It's just put it in artificial AI.
You just take Gok and they get the answer.
So that, that shows that the intelligence is getting less and less. And in time, people will not be able to think for themselves. I mean, if you look in the 70s and 80s, the calculator was invented.
Yeah.
And everybody, brilliant, I don't have to think what's 8 plus 8, 8 plus 8, 16. And now if you ask youngsters, what's 12 times 18, they can't think. And this is what is becoming now.
Yeah, they don't even know the multiplication table.
Yes, yeah.
It's a fact.
Yes, it's a fact.
They cannot calculate without a calculator.
Yeah.
Means batteries or solar something.
Yeah, so I think, and for that reason, we can see why Vyasadeva wrote all the scriptures.
That's why we have other means to attract them and make them sympathetic toward Krishna through prasad, festivals, arena, nice kirtans, program. All these things are meant for attracting common people, and those who are more intelligent, they will inquire from the scriptures. They will buy Bhagavad Gita and that. Like me, like myself at the beginning, they won't understand so much. But they will understand that there is something to understand, and they are to purify themselves in order to grasp the meaning, the deeper meaning. So they may, some who are a little serious, they may endeavor to start following some kind of purification, restraining from meat eating, sex, less drug, less this, less minimizing, then understanding why these things they make us think that the material world is the real thing. And little by little they understand how it is important to purify intelligence in mind in order to understand refined subjects. These topics are not so easily understood with material intelligence. The reality is that the Bhagavatam is meant for devotees and is easily understandable for devotees. But for non-devotees, it is quite hermetic and it requires some mercy and purification to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita and that. But someone who is interested, Krishna gives facility and gives association. And gradually you can extract yourself from the mud. It's really like mud. This material world is like mud, muddy swamp. You get into it, you try to move, but you sink down. It's very difficult to get out of the swamp.
Quicksand. Quicksand.
Huh?
Quicksand.
Quicksand, yeah. Quicksand, c'est vrai. Quicksand. You have to have a technique, and you need some helpers to explain you or to extract yourself. Otherwise, you get lost. Grantamad Shrimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. Good.
Giri Govardhan Prabhu ki.
Mm-hmm.